Let's go to YouTube. Here with none other than Bryant Jennings. What's going on with you, champ?
Nothing much, man. Just grinding, working, doing what I got to do. Getting ready for this July 13th.
Right. I see you working, man. That was
Yeah.
hella work you put in today.
Yeah, hella work off of some consecutive hard days. It's a grind. It's a
Right.
grind.
Now the heavyweight division is it's at an all-time high. Your fight with Oscar Ruiz. That was an exciting fight.
Yeah.
Now he's moving on to fight Dillian White. You moving on to fight Joe Joyce. We saw Andy Ruiz upset over Anthony Joshua.
Right.
Deontay Wilder's rumored to fight Luis Ortiz. The heavyweight Tyson Fury looks like he's going to be fighting again in September. This is the hottest the heavyweight division has been in years, and you're a part of it, man. How does it feel?
Well, I've been a part of it for a long time. Along with a lot of the guys that you mentioned.
Right.
But I guess the focus now is just on heavyweights.
Right.
So we've been doing what we've been doing, but now it's just a bigger entrance with heavyweights. Being still that there's no more Floyds, and the smaller weight classes aren't the hot commodity right now. Heavyweights are the hot commodity. We always been, but now it's like we're back on top.
Right.
So to be a part of that is it's to think back of where I came from and how I started. It's amazing. It's always amazing, regardless of what point I stand at. It's always amazing.
Right. And like you said, you've been a part. You was in there with Klitschko. You was in that era. And now I mean, boxing goes as the heavyweight division goes. No disrespect to the other weight divisions,
right.
but boxing, a heavyweight champion in the world,
is the biggest.
Right.
The biggest
Right.
thing.
So no problem.
No, I was saying pause.
Oh yeah.
I said it's the biggest thing.
Right. Pause. So now, Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
What went wrong, and do you think he could right the wrong in a rematch, or is this styles make fights? Is it a bad style matchup for him?
I mean, it was, and is still a bad style matchup. That doesn't mean that Anthony Joshua can't overcome that. He probably just didn't. He probably wasn't mentally or technically prepared enough to deal with the style matchup and underestimating what he had to bring to the table. Because he did drop him, so he did do good,
right.
And he can do better. It's just a bad style matchup. It's not the bad style matchup, but if he don't work on what he felt as though he can better himself in, then the same thing will happen again. But he has potential to do even better and even greater. He's switching trainers. Only thing he really got to work on is his ring movement, moving around, using his jab, using his length. And not necessarily like going in for the kill all the time. And take your time.
Right.
And stop doing so many weights. Work on the smaller muscles.
That was another thing I was going to ask you, because it seemed
smaller
like
muscles keep the bigger muscles working.
Right. I was going to ask you that because it seems like he has stamina issues. It seemed like he was tired by the third round, and a lot of people.
A lot of guys have stamina issues.
Mm-hmm.
For many reasons, but in this case with Joshua, I think it's just doing maybe too much power. Not focusing enough on endurance and speed. And agility, athleticism, and technique.
Right. Now, another big fight coming up is a rematch with Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. How do you see that?
Same thing gonna happen again.
Do you think it'll be earlier, or?
Yeah, it might even be earlier. Same thing gonna happen again.
Have you ever seen power like Deontay Wilder?
I never have. And when I speak of competition, I don't speak of them as competition not unless the question requires me to compete within the two. So when I think of all these guys, really, I think about who they are from the outside. You know what I'm saying? So, we never seen no power like, I've never seen no power like that. Dude, he can hit you with falling. He can hit you dazed, you done. And then his intensity level is very high.
Right.
And, even though he gets wild and hype, but you figure he's wild and hype with two big ass guns.
Right.
It's like, let's say Vincent, somebody get wild and hype with some 22s,
right,
versus somebody getting wild and hype with a machine gun. Boom, 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 boom.
right.
You can miss 40 shots. That one joint hits you, you're done.
Right.
You get hit up a lot of times with a little small caliber gun, but whatever that analogy is. But I just think that he's one of the hardest punches that that I've seen in boxing.
Now, it's rumored that he's going to face Tyson Fury in the rematch. He announced
Same
it
thing
February.
might happen again. So it's a difference. Tyson Fury is a different animal. He's big, and he's agile, and he's athletic, and he's versatile, and he's smart. He uses his head, he uses his body and stuff like that. That doesn't take away from him, suffering what he suffered the 12th round.
Right.
That can happen again, and that can happen early. And if that happens early, then we're looking at a different fight.
Right.
But for the most part, being that big against guys that can't move as well and defend as well, it's a problem.
Right.
So
right.
he's a problem. Tyson Fury is a problem for anybody.
Now, getting back to yourself, you was one of the boxers that made it known that you were vegan.
Yeah.
And are you still vegan?
Yeah, I'm still a vegan. Yeah, we're not going backwards.
And do you think that helped you with your stamina and things of that nature? Is that part of the reason you switched over?
No. It's just I think a lot of stuff is just maintained for longevity, and I think that your thinking, your clarity outside of boxing. I'm not just a boxer.
Right.
Most people just want you to shut up and box.
Right.
But no, that's not what being plant-based. That's not what that enhances. It doesn't always enhance you overnight. It enhances you long-term longevity.
Right.
And those are the things that I'm looking forward to. And it keeps me clean, clear, cool, clear-headed, and mentally focused and mentally strong about a lot of different things. So I like it. And then we living in this on this land, where they allow a lot of things, to penetrate our foods and stuff like that.
Right.
And the only thing you gotta do is open up a book or use Google. That's
right.
your best friend, huh?
Right.
Use that and look at and read the ingredients, look on the back of certain stuff.
Right.
And if you don't understand it, then look into it because you put it into your body. But to each his own.
Right.
It works for me. It's good for me. It might not be good for nobody else. I'm still 225, 230.
Right.
Never get down, never get up. I'm just normal. I'm just regular. So it works for me.
Right. Now let us know what went wrong in the Oscar Rivas fight.
The Oscar Rivas fight, that fight went wrong before I got there. Just a lack of focus. And there was just some unattractive thoughts, unattractive sceneries. It was just like the vibe just was down, and it was just a lot of things that I could have done. I'm looking at it like, damn. But it's a lot of things with this boxing stuff too. It's like that strength, man, that mental strength. It's like, we do this time and time again, in and out.
Right.
It's like we become crazy in a sense.
Right.
Because this is what we have to dedicate our life to all of the time.
Right.
It's like, damn, even like right now, being away from home, being away from your family, even if you're with your family, it's a distraction.
Right.
Being away from it, you want to go to it. So now you're fighting the temptation of, damn, I want to be with my family, I want to be around people, but I can't be distracted and I got to stay focused. So, it's the focus is real important, for fighters, especially coming up, dealing with adversities, dealing with, different things and different aspects of boxing. So the fight was pretty much lost before I got in.
And we hear that all the time, is the fight is easy, it's the stuff leading up to the fight, and it's the mental leading up to the fight. And
coming in, you never know what BY is going to wake up that morning, and what BY is going to walk into the arena like.
And I'm glad you said that, because I always say, you guys step through the ropes, put your life on the line for our entertainment. You guys get rewarded, but do you think like people look into that too much and don't look at you guys as human beings? Like you say, you wake up, we don't know what you're feeling today. We just know off of your past what you've done in the ring, your skill set, and we judge it off of that. But we don't know how you woke up as a human being. You might not feel well that day.
But to them, it's basic entertainment.
Right.
Only to like people that are. People that are really into it, that people that really study fighters, and people that probably have fought before, and then you have interviews such as this, and interviews such as a lot of other ones that, that point out, the mishaps and the behaviors and stuff of what goes through in camp, what goes through in a person's mind, and not all the time some biased commentary, some shit like that. So that alters the people's minds also when they're looking and watching the fight, and the commentators are being biased about another fight. I know some people that's like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Right.
I don't know how to score a fight. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to the commentators. I'm listening to what they are saying.
Right.
And if they're not saying what they need to be saying or being true, then that person that's on TV, that's that new fan that you're breeding him to really understand by his comment and by his commentations. Like, it's like, yo, like, stop. So it's like it's a whole different. So it's different aspects of the game. It's like, so depending on how much you in it, depending on how much somebody focus on it, it's either entertainment or somebody can really understand it. But for the most part, block all that shit out. As a fighter, block it all out. Like when I sometimes I hate when I post up promotional things for myself, for my boxing, for my dates, because I like to look at my 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 notifications or whatever.
Right.
I like to go to the thing, see who liked it, see who comment or whatever. But it's like I'd rather do that with posts that are non-related to boxing, because when it's related to boxing, I don't want to see the good and I don't want to see the bad.
Right.
And I don't want to see the bad because I don't want to see the good, because the good can reflect on the bad.
Right.
So it's like, yo, if I'm all hype over like 3 good comments, okay, then I should feel the same way or feel neutral about a bad comment.
Right.
So you know what? I don't want to see neither one of them, because I don't want my mind or my mentality to be altered in any way. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I'm like, look, no, I wouldn't even. If I post something, it's like, damn. That's probably why some people turn their comments off on certain joints. And it's like, I don't want to see that. So it messes up my focus, but I still want to promote. And Instagram is a hell of a tool. At Bryant Jennings.
Yeah. Now, last question. I know you got to get out of here. Just working hard.
Yeah, but shit, we getting the cold.
Your fight with Joe Joyce coming up. How did that come about, and what do you have to do to be successful?
Yeah, well, I mean, it came about, it just came out of the blue. So I was supposed to fight another guy on a Fury undercard. I would have been relaxing right now. But yet and still, I felt as though, this here was a bigger reward. I think it was definitely a higher risk as well. But it was also a bigger reward. And I'm like, look, ever since I started in this game in 2009, I turned pro in 2010. So it's like, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I do it at the highest level possible at that point. That way it's like, look, if I belong here, let me know now.
Right.
So ever since I started, the beginning of my career, I always fought competitive fights. So it's just like, yo, I want to be able to fight the best. That way, if you lose or if you don't do as well, it's like, look, you did this against this person.
Right.
So when the Joyce fight came up, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I take it. And then it's just like, oh no, for sure, this dude can't beat me. I'm the only one that can beat myself.
Right.
So it's just like, yo, stop it. Like, a lot of people know. A lot of the fighters that are out right now, a lot of the heavyweights, I have good relationships with all of them. That's why I don't speak too bad on them.
Right.
If we fight, then we definitely got to make that. We definitely got to make the fight. But for the most part, it's like, yo, like people know what it is, and it's like he don't know what it is.
Right.
So it's just like he's gonna have his hands full. Of course, even the blind man can see that.
Right.
He's gonna have his hands full, and I'm definitely gonna win.
Right.
I believe I'm gonna win.
Do you think that they saw your fight with Ruiz and they said, oh, this is an opportunity?
Yeah, they probably did. But if they did that, then they probably still should have looked at certain things. It's like, even most people say, yo, you ain't even look like you even felt like fighting in that fight.
Right.
Like your facial expressions, everything just looked like, I'm here, bah, bah, bah. But you figure like Ruiz is an explosive individual.
Right.
So it's just like, yo, to do what I did for a whole 12 rounds, in that fashion, whether unmotivated or not, it's like, yo, that ain't easy.
Right.
That ain't easy to make a dude, to be as competitive. It was some rounds he was doing what he needed to be doing. It was some rounds I just pretty much just like, well, sometimes I just took off. But it was just like, it's still not easy.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know whether they paid close attention and they in over their head a little bit, but I think they feel as though I'm vulnerable. But it's just like, I'm from Philly. I'm a real fighter. I'm a fighter at heart. I'm a calm individual. I'm not a abrasive, grouchy person, because Tyson would tell you tough guys don't make it in boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Sun Tzu would tell you a mad fighter is a bad fighter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know what they thought, but come July 13th.
Yeah, because I was surprised. I said, that's why I asked you, what happened with the Ruiz fight, because it looked like you was just having an off night, and I was surprised that at Joe Joyce being a prospect, that they would look to face you at this stage of his career. It's almost like, I think that they may see something that, They think they see something that they don't.
Yeah, maybe they did. But another thing also look at, it's like, even though I don't want to be in this game for much longer anyway. Anyway, I don't give a fuck if I'm winning, if I can win 10. I want to be able to go on to the next chapter of the journey, for sure. So this is not talking out of, oh, you feel down, you feel like you're ready to retire. No, it's just the fact that I enjoy life so much that I want to see what's next.
Right.
And I want to get on to what's next and not dwell and put all of my eggs in this one particular basket. I don't care about how much money it's going to make me. I'm not driven off money. I make the money, money don't make me. So, those are some things that, that I look forward to. And, come July 13th, I'm putting it all on the line.
That's what's up. And you from Philadelphia, man. Philadelphia had a strong run. We saw Julian J. Rod Williams with the Swift Jared Hurd fight, and Tevin Farmer's been on the roll. You got Jerron Enos coming up.
Right.
Yourself yourself in another big fight for yourself. Speak on that.
Yeah. Well, Philly has a rich history.
Right.
Philly has a rich history, and in my city, I said it in the rap, you know what I'm saying? I'm big in Philly. I'm in the race for Temple. So in my city, it's kind of like if you represent what the city represents, they gonna stand behind you.
Right.
They gonna stand behind you. Just don't do no nut shit. Don't be no nut ass nigga. Don't be no cornball. Don't be no clown. Don't be drawing. Don't be doing none of that. It's like, yo, keep it up. Keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. Handle your business and stay down till you come up.
Right. That's
all. And they gonna fuck with you.
I appreciate you, champ.
Hey, man, you already know, man. Appreciate it.
I know you was working hard. I saw you in there, man.
Yeah, grinding the big FA job.
Yes, sir.
6'5",
yes, sir.
240.
Man, that was a hell of a session, man.
Yeah, one of the top prospects in the game right now. People need to look out for him. He has one punch knockout power for sure. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you already know what it is. It's your boy,
yes, sir.
Bryant Jennings. You already know. We down in Houston. We at Plex right now. July 13th. Bryant Jennings versus Joe Joyce. You already know where to find me at Bryant Jennings on Instagram and Twitter. You already know what it is. Blue blood, baby.
Yes, sir.